Despite the hardships of the last year, climate change remains the most pressing global issue for consumers, as you can see in this graph from Swedish power company Vattenfall. And globally, 33% of us are angry about the lack of effort being made to stop climate change, as shown here. Carbon emissions are a key contributor to climate change, and so the pressure is mounting for brands to buckle down and put in real work to reduce their carbon output. As we've been reporting on Stylus, businesses have to acknowledge the emissions that are created throughout the long tail of their value chain. So cutting carbon emissions can be less straightforward than it sounds because it means taking ownership of the emissions that a brand didn't directly create. So I'm going to talk you through what brands are doing to reduce these indirect emissions. First up, let's look at suppliers. The emissions created by suppliers do affect the carbon footprint of the end product. And so collaborating with all parties in the supply chain is crucial. Japanese auto company Nissan, for instance, is developing a closed-loop recycling system between its own production line and its suppliers. The car maker collects scrap aluminium from factories and returns the material to suppliers so it can re-enter the production chain. This circular system has Nissan and its suppliers work directly together to reduce waste. And Swedish appliance manufacturer Electrolux created a sustainability award to encourage its suppliers to reduce their emissions output. And this is great because it incentivizes them to push for new solutions. The company is also running a digital platform to connect suppliers so they can learn from one another and continue to nurture new ideas. Then there's a tricky question of consumer carbon, because products continue to generate carbon emissions even after they're sold. For instance, transporting a purchased home by car or throwing it away when it's no longer wanted all create emissions and contribute to a product's carbon footprint. And so, one avenue to reduce these emissions is to help consumers responsibly dispose of their products. IKEA is stepping up here by producing instructions for disassembly. These explain how to take a product apart so it can be easily transported, repaired, or recycled. The company is also rolling out buyback schemes, which exchange store vouchers for pre-owned goods. Another way to reduce post-purchase emissions is by educating consumers on how they can reduce their own carbon footprint. Cleaning brand Tide, for instance, is creating a Turn to Cold Water campaign to encourage its users to wash with cold rather than hot water. And this is a move that can reduce energy consumption by up to 90%. Packaging also has a role to play, with carbon labels clearly stating how much emissions were generated in the production of each product. And these are being applied to food, tech, and even furniture. And so companies need to have information about their carbon footprint ready because consumers are increasingly asking for it. So now's the time to own up to the indirect emissions inherited from suppliers or generated by consumers after purchase to improve the sustainability throughout the entire value chain. For these case studies and more, look at our ongoing Sustainability Roundup series. Thank you.